Well, good Monday evening, everyone. Wanted to get on and do another video. Look at the chance that we could see severe weather start to ramp up again here later in the work week into this next weekend. So this is Monday, April 10th. Here in the evening, wanted to kind of look at some of the models again, look at some of the severe weather that could be kind of setting up some of the areas that might be impacted here, looking like Friday of this week and then going in possibly into the weekend as well. So wanted to take a look at kind of this overall pattern that's setting up across the United States. We've certainly seen a very active pattern of severe weather really across the end of March and then right at there at the start of April. Definitely a little bit of a quiet, patch here in the last, week or so. Does look like the next couple days we've had some severe storms, some hailstorms certainly in the Panhandle and West Texas, Oklahoma here this evening, but overall not huge, not tornado producers, not huge bouts of severe weather. So let's take a look at this overall pattern. What this does, this looks at Wednesday evening. And I think one of the things is this kind of closed cutoff low here, kind of centered over almost Louisiana right now. We've got the jet stream pretty far up here to the north, a little bit of a trough here across kind of the Pacific Northwest. But overall, when we get to Wednesday, kind of middle of this week, we've got this cutoff low. Now, one of the things that is going to do is likely keep some of the moisture quality and content down, maybe a little bit more than we would like to with severe weather. So again, this is looking at Wednesday evening. Again, pretty meager. Yes, there is some moisture and dew points maybe in kind of the low 50s, but really, unless you get down to the coast, most of the 60s dew points even are well off the coast. Whereas when we start to get a little bit closer, we look at Thursday evening, we start to see a little bit better moisture being kind of pulled up. And then certainly as we go into Friday, that's where we really start to see more of this moisture. We can see kind of this moisture tongue that's going to set up here, probably across the eastern third of Texas up into eastern Oklahoma and probably stretching up into possibly the Kansas area as well, kind of southeast Kansas. And it looks like somewhere along this dry line here, again, looking at dew points, eastern Oklahoma, 64 degrees, kind of southwestern Oklahoma, 37 degrees. So pretty sharp little dry line setting up here. Again, this would be Friday evening. So we certainly could see the potential for some severe weather, kind of setting up anywhere from this kind of triple point in southeast Kansas, along this dry line across much of Oklahoma, and then certainly across North Texas, maybe around the Dallas-Fort Worth area, setting up pretty close to the I-35 corridor, at least based on where models are showing here on Monday evening. Now, this is certainly subject to change, and I would expect that we would see more changes. But I think we will see, getting into the late week again, moisture will start to kind of set itself up. When we look at some of the severe weather parameters that we like to look for, we can see again this energy helicity index. We can see kind of a bullseye here, north central Oklahoma setting up, but certainly enough of that kind of overlap between that instability, that cape, and also that lower level shear that's, what you need to see severe weather, supercells, possibly even tornadoes, really stretching up here to southeast Kansas, kind of south central to southeast Kansas. Again, kind of I-35 and points east in Oklahoma, and then certainly Red River, Dallas, Fort Worth, maybe even into the hill country here on Friday evening. So definitely looks like the environment is going to be conducive to severe weather really along that dry line as we get to really that Friday evening point. When we go and look a little bit further out, and let's take a look at Saturday, kind of where that may kind of set up here. So let's look at Saturday evening. Again, we can see pretty significant amount of moisture that's pulled up, at least over the coast, kind of along the Gulf Coast here, high 60s into southern Arkansas, Louisiana, kind of coastal Texas to maybe that I-10 corridor, stretching all the way up into Mississippi, Tennessee, even up into Kentucky as well. So it looks like Saturday is likely going to be another opportunity for severe weather. When we look at a couple of those parameters, let's look at that EHI. This is again for Saturday evening. Not quite as robust as we see for Friday, but certainly we have some pockets here across kind of the coastal plains of Texas into Louisiana and even Mississippi and a little bit of Arkansas as well, that we could see the potential for severe weather setting up on Saturday as well. So again, we've had a little bit of a calm period for severe weather. Again, some hailers, but not anything super significant or much of a tornado threat. But it does look like that's going to ramp up again, especially looking at Friday evening. If you have plans kind of on Friday, certainly across north central Texas, eastern half or third of Oklahoma, even into Kansas as well. Again, it's a little too early to nail this down with any type of certainty, but it does look like that pattern is going to start to be a lot more conducive to some of that severe weather threat. And again, we can see a little bit of this kind of trough that moves over the central US, and we can see kind of these little bit of a kink here in the flow, likely going to set off some storms here, kind of along that dry line, setting up there, probably that kind of Friday afternoon into the evening, and then again probably progressing into to Saturday as well. So that looks like the next chance of severe weather, at least a little bit more of a regional outbreak rather than just a couple cells or a couple little hailers like we've seen recently. So certainly stay weather aware. Way too early to really know any of the details. The Storm Prediction Center really doesn't even have much out when we look further into the kind of day 4, day 5 probabilities. Again, no risk areas out yet, but I would expect kind of that Southern Plains area that we've talked about to be likely where we see some of that severe weather set up. So again, hopefully this was helpful here. Again, just kind of giving you an idea of where we might see severe weather setting up here towards the end of the week. And certainly as we get a little bit closer and the models start to get a little bit more of agreement and we see a little bit more clarity, definitely post some more videos and stay up to date. And then hopefully maybe Friday and possibly even Saturday, get out there and do some chasing as well as we get a little bit further into April. So everybody stay safe. Hopefully you have a good week, and hopefully this video was helpful. I'll see you back for the next one.